Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, thumbs up? All right. So I wanted to take a moment this morning as we all gather together here for this event to do some basic introductions. The theme I kind of had, I think, is on the actual website for the event. You had a link here somewhere, didn't you? There we go. And I have to go back into presentation mode, which I will know how to do because I use Windows machines all the time. Okay. So if you go to the program, there's a session here I have called, What Does an Enterprise Wiki Mean to You? And what I'd hope we do is just go around the room and introduce ourselves. Over the next couple of days, we're going to spend a lot of time together, but I think it'd be great if we knew some names and where we were coming from to start some conversations later this afternoon during breaks and lunch and things like that. So I'm going to do much talking. Actually, you'll be doing all the talking, so this is why I volunteered for this session. So there's a couple questions here. You don't have to answer them all, but just basically take a minute or two to kind of introduce yourself. If you're here representing an organization or a company, let us know that if you can. If you're here representing yourself, let us know that as well. And just talk a little bit about what your experience with wikis is and what your hopes are for this event. What sort of things do you want to walk away with? Better understanding, relationships, answers to big questions in your heads, things like that.
And actually, the first thing I was going to do is suggest that Chris needs to answer the questions. So I'll let you go first.
Foiled again. So my name is Chris Koerner. About a year ago, I started working for the Wikimedia Foundation. The Wikimedia Foundation is a nonprofit that supports Wikipedia and its sister projects. I'm a community liaison, which means by day I help support the communities in giving them a voice in product development and helping make sure that our product development teams are communicating appropriately with multiple communities that we have around software changes and updates and things like that. Before joining the foundation, I worked 4 years in a nonprofit healthcare system where I was the wiki guy. So that's how I got involved in all of this.
Awesome. So, I'm Cindy Chickalese. You all know that already. I work here at MITRE. I'm at EMWCon because I organized it. I sort of had to be here. No, I organized it because I love MediaWiki. I think it does amazing things. I love the idea of people collaboratively sharing their knowledge and building it and synthesizing it. And I think MediaWiki is amazing software and want to help it be used by more people. And so I love the fact that there's a third-party community using MediaWiki and want to support you all, and that's why I'm here and why I organized this conference. What is my experience like using wikis? It's a joy every day. And my hopes for the future is that there be better adoption of MediaWiki in the third-party community. I would love to see MediaWiki easier to install and maintain. That's my big thing because I spend more time doing that than I care to. And would love to spend more time writing wonderful extensions and providing more features and functionality to the community. So anything that makes it easier to just install and run and update a wiki would be wonderful. I'd love to see everybody in this room get a chance to talk to everybody else. That's what I'd love to see during this event. A frustration with wikis that I'd like to discuss with other attendees, installation, upgrade, and maintenance of a wiki. And the biggest challenge of enterprise wikis that does not arise for Wikipedia and other public wikis. I should have really read your questions earlier. Enterprise wikis are, I'll leave that one for you. Bernadette just whispered something, but I won't steal her answer. Enterprise wikis are a fundamentally different beast, I think, than Wikipedia. And I'll talk about this a little in my talk later. The fact that users are generally not anonymous, and that really sort of creates a different ecosystem. So they're different beasts. I will stop talking now.
Hello, I'm Tobias Oetterer. I'm from Germany, the University of Paderborn. I'm here because Cindy asked me to. She just suggested I'd come here and try it via the WMF grant, which worked. Thank you, by the way. What is my experience with wikis? The same as the frustration. All my wikis I maintain have a very low number of editors, mostly because the public wiki is maintained by us, and we have a very great user base that just reads. And the not public wiki has a very bad user experience. I have to admit, I designed it myself, so I'm to blame. I'm here because I made the experience that I always gain very much from these events, and especially in regard of user experience, I hope to get a lot and try some new things, and so I'm counting on you guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Bernadette Clementi. I work at MITRE. Why am I here? I'm the local chairman, I guess. You're the general chair or something, right, Cindy? It's because Cindy asked me. And I started working with MediaWiki and Semantic MediaWiki in 2006. And forget when we asked Cindy to join the team, somewhere in 2010 or 8 or something like that. And it's been a joy working with Cindy because she's really pushed a lot of the technology forward and advanced the way that we use MediaWiki and Semantic MediaWiki for our sponsors, and that's the name for our customers. MITRE requires us to say that. And what are our hopes for the future? Well, I'm going to echo Cindy's statement about we really would like to have the plethora of extensions and the core software and other large systems to be more easily maintainable and installable. Installable is probably the most important thing, and then maintainable after that. Share one thing I'd like to see during the event. Once again, I'd like everybody to be able to talk to each other, but I'll also say to deepen the relationship with each other, to really come away thinking that this was an important event. One thing I'd like to see, a frustration. Well, access control is really a big issue for us because we have all sorts of interesting requirements of access control that we're experimenting with different approaches to that, and hopefully you'll be able to see some of those things in my presentation tomorrow. And the biggest challenge, once again, is, for me at least, it's trying to figure out how to dance around access control and how to encourage communities to let go of that and to be able to cooperate and collaborate more transparently and not live in fear. So that's it.
Hello, my name is Kirk Rector. I'm at Los Alamos National Lab. I'm a physical chemist by training, so I don't know a lot about the behind-the-scenes nonsense that you need to have to make this stuff work. We started using our wiki probably 3 or 4 years ago as an experiment to help all my scientists start talking to each other in a more efficient way. And that was fairly successful, so it's a small team, probably ranging from about 8 to 15 people. We made the mistake a couple years back of showing our customer what we're doing, so now they want in, and they want other national labs to get in, and so we're working on things like the opposite of what you just said, security, being able to have people remote in a protected way, and then be able to collaborate with each other. One of the things that I struggle with as someone who has to bring in new people and say this is what we're going to use is, fighting against just the learning curve of people who are used to writing things in Word and doing things in a different way. So I'm looking for ideas on how to do that better. We probably made every mistake possible when we started this thing up, so we're trying to fix that stuff as we get more mature, and we're looking to do some of that stuff here, hopefully.
I'm Brad Yoakum. I work for Los Alamos National Laboratory. He hired me to manage all that nonsense behind the scenes. So like he said, we've made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes were made before I got on board. and we're trying to fix those. Hopes for the future, let's see. Making upgrading simpler. a nicer text editor. Teaching people code is a pain. Yeah, like I said, we have access control issues. It's big in the government. Sorry, sorry to say. So I'd like to see something done about that. I'm just hoping to get other people's ideas for what they're doing, and maybe even share some code on automating our updates.
Good morning. I'm Craig Penrose, and I work excuse me, down at Quantico, Virginia for the Marine Corps, along with my two colleagues here, Deb and Jerome. I recently got involved with MediaWiki because we're bringing in the server into our Marine Corps domain. We're rehosting it from, it had existed in a MySQL semantic wiki extension environment, and we brought it into an environment where we're using Microsoft SQL Server. So we've had a lot of rehosting issues, and we had to drop semantic media because we couldn't get it to work with Microsoft SQL Server, so we picked up Cargo. And when I say we, it's really Deb and Jerome doing everything. I'm big picture. So we've been migrating from semantic extensions over to the Cargo extensions, and we're hoping to build what they already had existing and started with. We've been working on it a couple months. We're hoping to build it in the next month or two to help with the Marine Corps capability development. And it's just, for me, it's one server. We have other servers. We have search indexing servers. We have web content management servers. And from my perspective, the enterprise is how am I connecting all these dots together, and interested in search, indexing. I know MediaWiki obviously has great inherent capability, but also hidden it from other servers. And then access control and CAC authentication we're wrestling with that right now. We got our CAC to work, but we want that to be the login, so it's still a two-step process. So we need an extension to do that. That's all.
Hi, I'm Deb Frost, and I've been working with Semantic MediaWiki since 2009 for the DoD on another contract. I work for Group W, and started doing this for Group W back in like 2010, and hosting wikis for Marine Corps clients. And so I really have enjoyed MediaWiki, or Semantic MediaWiki, and now Cargo. I love learning new things. Even experience of frustrations are good. It's like a big puzzle for me. My hopes for the future are making this work with Cargo and the Microsoft SQL Server. Pushing the envelope there a little bit. It's been great working with Jerome. He's been fantastic. And I'd like to see. I'm interested in Cargo specifically just because I just don't know it. Frustrations with wikis. Sometimes we have a very good, very adaptive client base. They want to use it, but sometimes you don't have that, and so that's been my frustration. Sometimes is the adoption of it, and the biggest challenge is working with the access controls and working outside of the paradigm of openness, because our government clients they don't embrace that very well. So.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jerome Huff. I work for Professional Solutions Delivered as a contractor to the Marine Corps, and I work for Craig. I've been involved with the wiki for 2 months, so a relative newbie here. Didn't have any experience with wiki or PHP, although I do have quite a background in web application development itself. So I'm looking for help in learning how extensions work, how to program an extension. Specifically, again, as Craig mentioned, we've got the cat card authentication, and I want that to become the single logon. So I'm looking for any help. If anybody's had any suggestions on how to integrate those, I'd be looking to have that. As he said, we are stuck with SQL Server, and IIS as our platform. And so we've run into a few technical issues, and nothing that so far has been a stopper. Euron has been a great help with the cargo extensions, very responsive to us. And I want to say thank you to him for that, and then hope that he will continue to work with us. Frustrations, the learning curve on installation of the wiki was quite stiff. Took several tries before we got it right in one swoop without having to go and restart. But I'm looking forward to the conference here and what I can learn. So thank you.
I'm Mark Hirschberger. I'm the chair of the Create Camp because Cindy asked me to. And one thing I've heard you all talk about, which I think I would love to have discussion on for the Create Camp, is best practices. You know, what can we learn from each other to avoid making all these mistakes? And so I would love to get a discussion going about that, especially among those of us who are not, you know, as technical. I want to discuss with you the PA organization of extensions. I have what I think of as an emerging best practice for how to set up an extension, because usually you start out and you're like, okay, I want to write an extension. How do I do this? Where do I put things? I have a structure, I think, set up for that, and I'd like to get input back on that. Let me see what the questions are. Oh, what's my experience? 2010, I started at the Wikimedia Foundation, and as a contractor, was eventually hired, eventually left, and now I'm working as a consultant for MediaWiki. Hopes for the future, wonderful thing. Y'all have already said all the other stuff up there, so I'm just going to echo and agree with that. So there you go. What? Oh, yes. I suppose I should mention that a couple of years ago, the person I was partner with in the is MediaWiki release management team, Marcus Glaser and I of Palo Belt. I'm of Nichwork. He's of Palo Belt. We started MediaWiki Stakeholders, which is a Wikimedia affiliated organization for third-party users of MediaWiki, and hopefully through that we've tried to make sure our concerns are visible. One recent thing that I have experience with is, I believe Cindy was talking about we exercise pathways that Wikimedia Foundation doesn't exercise. For instance, I just found this past week, I heard y'all talking about authorization. That's one of the things I'm working on as well. There's a way to bypass image auth by using thumb PHP. So, that I have a bug for that now. So, there you go. That's one thing.
Hello, my name is Evita Hollis. I'm with General Electric, and I'm part of a knowledge management team, a knowledge sharing. So I'm not a developer. It seems like that's the theme here. I'm not someone interested in how it works, but what it does to help my clients manage their knowledge content, to help access, create, and share content. So my hopes here is just to get more ideas of what the system can do and what we could do to help with that process.
Hi everyone, my name is Lex. I'm going to join a couple of other people who mentioned Cindy in their first answer, because I'm here because I'm Cindy's greatest fan, and I'm taking a lot of joy in meeting all the great people I'm meeting every half a year now for the last 2.5 years. My experience is in Switzerland I run my own corporate semantic web company that provides services and products across the entire stack, which would be setup, ontology, engineering, testing, and of course coding, extensions and tools. My hopes would be that more people would take the time to go fast as a general attitude in life. What I love to see is more appreciation for structured thinking in companies. That's still a big problem. The biggest fight is against Excel sheets on file systems. It's not against Confluence or whatever. The biggest frustration is the underestimation of wiki text. I do not know where this religious rejection to wiki text comes from. And the challenge for EMW for the future would be to craft a punchy marketing message that would make it clear that MediaWiki is one of the best tools to minimize the mental overhead which is expended at finding and using organizational knowledge. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm at EMWCon because I want to just hear about use cases other than the typical ones from MediaWiki, I think, because it's a very different group from the group I normally hear from, and it's nice to have the different perspective. What's my experience? I've been a MediaWiki developer since 2010. More recently, I work at the Wikimedia Foundation in the security department. What are my hopes for the future? I'd like, I guess in the context of MediaWiki, I'd like to see more cooperation between enterprise groups and other third-party groups that use MediaWiki with the Wikipedia use case, just to see everyone kind of learning from each other and not being so separate. What would I love to see during this event? Just everyone talking to each other and learning from each other, I suppose. Frustrations? Well, I more want to hear other people's frustrations. My frustrations aren't that interesting. I guess just like making MediaWiki better is what I want to do. So really just other people's frustrations. I guess the challenge for EMW is to make sure everyone is heard and reached out to. All these communities that are an enterprise often are very isolated, and bringing people together is really the challenge.
Hi, my name is Tim Hayes. I'm from the State Department, and the reason I'm here is because I heard about this from a mutual friend of Cindy's and mine, and but more importantly, I'm in the division that manages our enterprise wiki. It's called Diplopedia, and you'll hear a bit more about it later this afternoon. My general overall experience with wikis, I've been using them both in a professional setting and a personal setting for, since 2006. Pretty much since they've been around, and particularly, as involved in primarily MediaWiki. So my hopes for the future is that we can get MediaWiki to be a little bit easier for the users to use. I think sometimes there's a hurdle in the beginning that sometimes we just can't get people over to just contribute. I think our experience is we have a lot of people who actually take advantage of it and read it, but they're hesitant to add the content, primarily because they just feel like they don't know how to. As far as one thing I'd like to see during this event would be, actually there's two things. Number one, I wanted to have a lot more interaction with some of my colleagues from the other federal agencies. I think all of us first met about 4 years ago during Wikimania when the State Department helped set up a couple of sessions where we actually were all together. But the other big thing that I wanted to see today was the interaction between people who are a little bit more on the technical side and can talk about either developing extensions or let us know about extensions we're not aware of, or other more sort of complex, advanced things we can do with our wiki. The frustration right now, I think, with wikis is user experience. People just have a hard time getting going on it, and they're not quite certain what they're going to do. As far as the biggest challenge for the enterprise wiki, we see it every day in that in the enterprise, people are they're a little timid. They don't know what they want to do. And I remember way back in 2006, one of the slogans was "Be bold," and we still try to tell people that to be bold and just do it. Put something down. If you have an idea, if you know things, it's something that you can do. But there's tremendous hesitation just because it's a professional setting. So, any way we can overcome that would certainly be useful.
I'm Bob Watts. I'm also from the State Department, from the Office of E-Diplomacy, and work with Tim on Diplopedia. I'm here because Tim found out about the conference, and I recently became the team lead on Diplopedia. So the team, which is about 2 people, and so Tim invited me to come along. I've been working on wikis for about 7 years or so in the State Department as I came to the Office of E-Diplomacy and got involved in management. I since retired and have stayed on as a consultant, but I've gradually ramped up my experience with the wiki at the State Department as it's developed and as we've adopted some new uses, and I've learned the basic markup language, and so I'm actually an economist and what we call an accidental geek. Our hopes for the future are that we can develop this platform, continue to develop it at the State Department, and take advantage of what there is out there in the greater world in terms of the medium. And I'd like, as Tim said, to be able to share some experiences with other enterprise wiki users, also to just see if we can find some low-hanging fruit that we can take back and put into action in our situation. We have an internet of about 100,000 users, but we've only scratched the surface in terms of what we can do with the wiki. And I think the frustration is, again, what Tim, I think, addressed, is the timidity of people in really getting out there, and how we, help hold their hands as they get experience with using the platform. I think the challenge of the enterprise in our situation is finding, for the individuals to find the difference between authoritative and non-authoritative information. People who have expertise in an area are often unwilling to share it if it's not exactly in their area of responsibility, in their work responsibility. We'd like to get people to share their expertise across the department, no matter what their formal title is. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Nick Hoffman. I'm here from Safran. We're a French aerospace company. I've been with the company about 2 years. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, and I started getting involved with MediaWiki through knowledge management in engineering. So before Safran, I was with Parker Aerospace, and at Parker and at Safran, the need is there for knowledge management system. Neither company really had anything in place, and as somebody else commented, we were doing much just by storing things in Excel files or Word files on the network, PDFs. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to skip around a little bit on some of the questions, but when we started, we set up within our site at Parker as a small engineering group. We set up a deployment there, and everyone enjoyed it, but there's been quite a few resistance to actually deploying something through our IT organization. So in terms of a challenge, that's one thing that I've come across, is that just having to convince others that MediaWiki is a viable option in an enterprise setting. So the first response is, why don't you use SharePoint? So, and then that's a big challenge to get past, and I'm still working on that currently at Saffron. My experience with MediaWiki has been good. I'm a big proponent of it. I haven't actually looked at all the different available tools, but to me it seemed like a safe bet since it's what Wikipedia uses. The one thing though is, and this may be addressed, I never deployed the visual editor, but at Parker we found that the markup could be intimidating for new users, so we had a lot of sessions where we had people around and we'd kind of break down the process of creating a page and say, okay, well, let's just start with an outline. Here's how you log in. Go ahead. Here's how you do a bolded list or headings and everything. And then we'd kind of build content on there to try and reinforce the idea that you don't have to sit down with Wikipedia or MediaWiki. You don't have to sit down and write everything in one stop. You kind of add what's on your mind and kind of build a page as you go. Hopes for the future. I'd like to see ever-increasing enterprise adoption. I echo the concern about more database options. So that's something that we're struggling with is Microsoft SQL Server is our preferred database hosting, so I'm a little concerned about that for deploying it within Saffron. I'd also like to see, and this may be available, integrated visual markup. So for engineers, when we're doing a page on knowledge management, we often need to take a screenshot, but then we need to circle, point, put labels, put arrows, and I haven't found a good system for capturing the base image plus all the markup on top of it so that if we need to regenerate it, we can basically just replace and update. Because right now we have to use some third-party tool, save it as a picture, load in the picture, and it can be an organizational problem keeping that base image and the markup organized with the pages that use it. So something like that would be very helpful for us. And I also like to see easier exporting options in terms of PDF, Word. I know Wikipedia has the option of making PDF books and things, which is very interesting, but I didn't get very far in terms of implementing that, but something like that would be easy on the enterprise side would be great for us, because that's another big concern is that everyone's used to Word files printed and saved as PDF, so we need to be able to at least go back to that for those users who that's their preferred consumption if they're traveling or something. What would I like to see? I echo the comment about just in general networking with everyone here. Very excited to be here and meet everyone. I'd also like to hear how each person's organization chose MediaWiki. Because like I said, for me that's been a constant struggle on trying to get everyone on that same page and discuss why, for example, using Word files in a SharePoint document library is not the same and not as efficient as using a collection of web pages for that. I'd also like to see best practices, since I don't come from the IT industry and I'm more trying to set it up as a engaged user of it, would be enterprise deployment templates. So I was able to figure out how to get it up and running and deployed, but in terms of best practices, I'm not sure what should be done in terms of security, scalability, data backup. For example, I just had a script that would run on, we did it on a Windows box, so I had a script that would run and do a database dump every night, and I'd store that on our network. But I'm not sure within an actual enterprise deployment what the best practices are for doing that. Connecting with Active Directory so we could have a single sign-on, and then managing extension upgrades, and then also upgrades to the base software. So I quickly found out that it was advantageous for me to deploy it using Git, but I'm not that experienced with Git, so I did it right on the base web directory, which I'm guessing it's best to maybe do that to a development server and then replicate that folder structure to your actual web server, production web server. But those are the type of things that I'm not really that experienced with, and for the initial trial deployment, it wasn't that big of a deal. Frustrations would be administration, updating, extension management, and then trying to copy some of the features that we see on Wikipedia. It seems like there's a rat's nest of templates. So you go to copy a page, content, or just kind of showcase something. It's, oh my goodness, there's all these templates, and you get those templates, and there's other templates, and I'm not sure how deep it goes, but it seems to go quite deep on that. And I understand the template structure is extremely powerful, and that's one of the things that I have a nice little ranking matrix of features and software. And that's one of the big proponents that I try and communicate that makes it very powerful, the ability to create and use those templates. But it seems to be difficult to understand if you look at a feature set from, from a user. They'll look at Wikipedia and say, oh, look at all these features and articles and the nice info boxes. And just trying to recreate that can sometimes be pretty cumbersome because of the levels that are set up within Wikipedia. And, yeah, that's it.
Hi everybody, my name is Daniel Renfro. I work at Vistaprint, which is a large online printing business. We print all kinds of everything. My background, I'm a seasoned Linux admin from years ago. Started using MediaWiki. My professor in college got me onto it, and this was some years ago, I think 2002 or something. Some of you may remember Magnus Mance. And the phase 2 versions, when it was originally ported to PHP, this was ages ago, and so I'm an old timer. Why are you at Enterprise MediaWiki Con? Well, my boss came across it, I think, last Friday, and I signed up last minute because it sounded like the most apt conference on MediaWiki I've been to yet. I worked previously at Texas A&M University running a wiki all about E. coli and biochemical stuff, and moved to Vistaprint into their knowledge management department, some other AM people over here, running their wiki, which was much different. And so this sounded right up my alley. What is your experience like using wikis? Oh, that varies. It depends on who I'm talking to. If it's developers, it's my experience is, when it works, it's great, and when it doesn't, you're just pulling your hair out and trashing the computer. If it's clients who are non-technical, my experience is a lot better. We had a lot of success setting up adoption practices, training materials for our company to ease adoption. I think that's a necessary step for any successful installation is early preparation in rolling out your wiki to your users. Hopes for the future. I think it kind of already happened, that we have devices in which I can go look up the world's information on, at any time, any place. I'd like to see that for our company. So, who's the expert on printing thick business cards? I want to just be able to go look that up. People have said before, some of the problems they've encountered are, well, I'm giving a talk later. And so the other bullet points are exactly what my talk is over. And so I don't want to give away the secrets of what I'm about to talk about, but yeah, so share one thing you'd like to see during the event. Everyone said information sharing, cross-functional knowledge sharing, I think is important, especially in MediaWiki land. So with that, I will hand it off.
Morning, everyone. My name is Matt Nemphos. I'm from the Maryland Department of Transportation. I work in the Office of Policy and Regulations, which is the fun stuff that everyone loves. We have 2 wikis. I'm actually more of an end user for both of them. The first wiki that we have is the internal policy manual that 12,000 of our employees use to basically know how to do their job. They know they can go in there, look up HR policies, they can look up SOPs that fall under policies, and that actually ties in. It's in our intranet, and it also links out to our external wiki, which is more the engineering aspect of the DOTs. So it's how to build a highway, what standard specifications to use. So basically, I'm here to enhance that experience, learn what I can from everybody, and bring that back to the DOT. Generally, it's been a positive experience. Our tech folks are pretty good with standing up the wiki, and as I go through, find extensions, they've been very responsive and haven't had too much issue installing those extensions. Some of the hopes I have for the future is, and it may be, hopefully it's just unique to us, but responsiveness on various devices. So there's HP tablets, iPads, cell phones. A lot of contractors use those type of things out in the field when they're actually out building a highway or dredging or whatever it might be. So I'd like to learn more about that. Again, one thing I'd love to do during the event is just network with folks and learn more about their best practices. Some of the biggest frustrations, though, that I've had with the wiki is more the nature of our business with the policies and being able to archive the old ones very easily. Since we have so many of them, it would be nice to either mass move pages into one site and have them all archived, so that if a legal issue were to rise later, we'd have date stamps on everything, and every time it's edited, it's automatically kicked over and deposited into that retention page, as opposed to an individual page where you have to go back and look through the history. And tying in with that is also with our standard specifications manual, to be able, we have a version that comes out every year. There's 2017's almost done. We're going to have a 2018, et cetera, for us to be able to move those over and not have to copy and paste, the root directory and then each individual page. I'd like to learn how to do that. So those are, I would say, my major frustrations. The biggest challenge of running an enterprise wiki, so it's not really necessarily a challenge of wiki, but it's more of an internal challenge of the mentality of people printing things all the time and posting them up and pointing to them and having 5 different versions of policies. I think wiki has really helped us with putting in the date stamp. So if somebody ever has an argument, whatever it might be, we can always just pull up the wiki. That policy is only valid for that day, and that's the end of the discussion. And I would just mention that we're not the only DOT that uses wiki. In fact, our secretary, Pete Ron, he came from Missouri. They have quite a comprehensive wiki that I kind of base ours off of. And I've reached out to them, and they're a good resource for us, so you all may want to reach out to them. And also Michigan also has their own DOT wiki as well. And we love it because it's free, so unlike SharePoint.
Hello, my name is Paul Hackett. I'm a research scholar at Columbia University in New York. My area of specialty is actually Tibetan religion, language, and culture. And I came to the MediaWiki Con as a result of a conference that I attended a few months ago, where one of the projects I'm working on is documenting the first major Tibetan language newspaper that was printed on the India-Tibetan border from 1925 to 1963. And we've just gotten the entire thing scanned and online, and after this conference we decided we needed a collaborative research environment for people to contribute their individual research on the project. And so over the course of a long weekend, I got a copy of Yaron's book, found some of the Enterprise MediaWiki YouTube videos, installed the software, and loaded some prototype data into it as a test structure. And so I've come here to hopefully learn some tips and tricks as to how people work with the software, ease of modification and customization, and yeah, generally learn what I did wrong on that first time and hopefully improve the thing. As for hopes for the future, I guess what I'd really like to see is increased documentation, a lot of which I had to sort of piece together from various talks and resources that I could find online. The one thing that I'd like to see discussed, for example, is bulk data import. So for example, as I said, I'm working on this newspaper, so I have 700 or 800 page images, lots of e-text. The entire newspaper is currently being typed in Paris, and so the ability to bulk import that correlated with page images in some sort of things. So that's also one of the frustrations that I had, was I couldn't seem to figure out how to do that. Yeah, otherwise just looking forward to learning what other people do with the software.
Hey, I'm James Montalvo. I'm here from Johnson Space Center in Houston, where I started a wiki farm that manages a lot of the data for Flight Operations Directorate at NASA. We started that to kind of solve our own knowledge management issues. We had lots of stuff spread out, as people have said already, spread out all over the place, and I'm going to go into more detail on that a little bit later. Cindy asked me to talk about it for 15 minutes or so later on today, so I won't talk about it too much now, but basically we started that in 2011. Since then it's become more of my day job to deal with sort of server administrative type stuff, as opposed to, I still use it for my day job of working in flight operations, but system administration stuff has become a lot bigger deal. So I'll echo your desire to make that easier. My experience, as I said, has gone from being a user to a developer, done a few extensions, to now again being more of a systems administrator type person. We started with one wiki, and now we're at the ballpark 20-ish wikis size. So and we're kind of at the point where we're pushing back on starting more wikis, just because we're concerned about siloing the information and kind of recreating the problem we've been trying to solve. So that's something I'd like to discuss, is how to minimize those silos, how to share information across wikis, so that we need to have separate wikis for certain information that one group is allowed to see for security reasons, another group isn't allowed to see, but being able to share templates across wikis, being able to share certain subsets of data across wikis would greatly improve the way we're doing things. So that's kind of one of my hopes of the future. As I said before, I'd really like to improve the system administrative thing. So another hope for the future, and something I'd like to see during this conference, is we've been developing our kind of simplified method of administrating wikis on GitHub Enterprise MediaWiki, the Mesa repo. So I'd either like to get people to help join us and build that, or if somebody's already building something better, abandon that project and join forces or something. But no reason for us to all be doing it separately if we're all having that same issue. So frustrations, we've got several. There's lots of double standards as far as, we get questions about access to our wikis that those questions are never asked about SharePoint, because SharePoint just gets a pass, because I guess, well, I'm not going to go into why I think that is, but other frustrations is we often get called the wiki police. I don't know if everybody else has ever heard that before, but some new user will go and make some change, and it's a good change, they've added good content, but maybe it's not exactly the way we wanted, and you go and you tweak it, maybe fix some formatting, move a page, remove all caps, that kind of thing, and then you turned around and the people are calling you wiki police, and you're like just trying to help make it better. So I'm interested in figuring out how to fix that kind of thing. Biggest challenge. So biggest challenge, I think, for enterprise wikis versus Wikipedia. Wikipedia is like kind of goal is to be open for everyone to edit and everybody to view, whereas that's kind of contrary to the general concept of enterprise wikis. There certainly are enterprise cases where people have fully open wikis, and we have one that is fully open, but kind of the overall, in general, when you think about it, it's some wiki that is restricted to some group of people. And so it's kind of, I think the biggest challenge there is determining where to draw that line of who can view and edit. And for us, one of our big pushes is to always be pushing that line towards more transparency, without getting ourselves in trouble. So That's kind of a constant battle of trying to be as open as possible while still obeying the law or the rules of your organization. I think that's everything.
Hello, my name is Chris Field. I'm also from Johnson Space Center, Flight Operations Directorate. I am a, I guess, admin super user for my group. Saw what James had been doing in his group and what he created, and I'm one of those 20 wikis that we have out there. My experience using the wiki is like super user type stuff, admin work of I just started, I really didn't know anything about wikis when we started. Of course, browsed Wikipedia, but never contributed or anything. So started to learn how wiki works and started building templates and forms using semantic MediaWiki, and have built up over time with that. And for my hopes for the future, my hope is to get for NASA-wide to be able to have a repository data that's all in one place where we have a lot of complex operations and we work on very complex systems, and to be able to have that data readily available to those who need it, and not only the data but giving showing relationships between all this different documentation, why this historical event is important to this, and how this this is driving this requirement, so that people can easily see that all in one place, and understand the importance of all this data. So my hope is to move over, at least my group, all the way. We're kind of, we've grown a pretty large wiki. We're still have some things on, still quite a few things on SharePoint as well as we're transitioning over to Wiki, so I'd love to fully make that transition as much as possible. And during this event, this is kind of why I'm at this conference as well, is I've come here to really see how other enterprises, especially other federal agencies, are using the wiki, what problems they've encountered. I was at the conference last year and found that many of us have many of the exact same problems when it comes to both gaining users who start to contribute, as well as what access can we allow, and siloing data, as James talked about. So I'm here to listen to other people's experiences, share ours, and just brainstorm on ideas of how we can improve those. And frustration that I've had is typically the people who have been around the longest, who have the most important data that I would love to have access to all the time, are the hardest to get on board and to contribute. So been working on trying to figure a way to communicate with them what the importance is of how important this is to go and contribute to the wiki, and even if they're very busy, how this investing in this now can in the future make us less busy, and make this data more available to people and help train new people quickly, and just maintain better data and institutional knowledge. Another frustration I have is continuous use of saving information off into Word documents or Excel files onto your own computer, or just attaching them somewhere, or when people do contribute sometimes to our pages, they're just see this file in this share drive that's underneath all these not appropriately named folders that no one will ever find if this link breaks. So getting people to just contribute directly to the wiki would be great to have. And I think that's also answers the last question. One of the biggest challenges I think for enterprise wikis that Wikipedia doesn't have to deal with is getting users to, just when you have knowledge, or if you're creating documentation, do it directly on the wiki. Don't go build PowerPoint and then go and attach that later. Like, just put that information to be shared on the page directly. And then there isn't the other issue, which is the complaint I hear a lot of times is, well, now I have to go and copy everything from this PowerPoint and now go put it over here, so it's twice as much work. And I would put it to them, well, if we just did this directly on there, then we'd reduce the amount of work and it would make the information easier to find for other people. So that's all I have for my rant.
My name is Jared Olson. I'm the third of us from NASA, and I'm in the robotics branch. We're each one of three branches in our division, in the EVA and robotics and mechanisms division at Johnson Space Center. Everything was very grassroots at first. We had an old SharePoint wiki for robotics, and I found out about James's wiki and asked him about it, and he imported all of our SharePoint stuff into MediaWiki, and I hit the ground running. But it's really grown, and it's very much a solution that NASA needs, and that's why we're getting a lot more usership. A lot of what I do, I'm a administrator, super user for the robotics, and I've been working a lot on importing other information from external databases and from network drives. Also, we have several interns in our group that I'm helping mentor, and they're dedicated to helping us with the wiki. I love the MediaWiki structure and transparency. I think it's really good for data management, and here at the convention, sharing lessons learned and extension ideas has been really helpful. We've come to a few of these over the past few years. And as we've said, motivating and educating users to contribute has definitely been an issue for my group. We have a few people that regularly contribute, but the rest are really just users of the data. They just see it as a repository where they can look things up and aren't really invested in understanding the details, how it will help them to add information. And that's my biggest frustration so far. We've talked about the challenges of access control and security, and some of that comes up with NASA because we have the export control and ITAR rules that we have to work around. But we're working towards bringing that together to one big wiki if we can. That's all I have.
One quick programming note. We're supposed to go to break right now. We have a half an hour break, but since these conversations so far have been really, at least for me, really good, I want to give everybody else a fair chance. We're going to go ahead and cut into that half an hour break. Don't worry, we still will have a break, I promise. I'm not going to keep you from coffee all morning. But so just for programming, let you all know what's going on.
Good morning. My name is Alex Tanchoco. I'm with Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City. I've been there 30 years. I started as a mainframe systems programmer doing databases. So I did DB2, helped mature that, and then I was doing PC stuff on my own. So when my boss was asked to head up networking or PC, I had to get involved with that. So anyway, it's a long story, 30 years. But what I'm getting to is I worked at the data center. I was part of the enterprise. I helped deploy Windows servers initially, network PCs, built a farm of file servers, SharePoint, SQL servers, and so on. So I just want to emphasize that as a background for the enterprise. So I've been moving roles about every 5 years or so. I introduce technology, work on it, mature it, and then move on to create another mess. So I got moved to a group that does all the data analytics at work. And one of the challenges is, having a common set of definitions for a concept of things like, chemotherapy or what it means to be a pediatric patient. You ask different people from different groups, they all have different definitions and so on. So what we started is a sort of like a work group where people would get together and kind of define the stuff, and we would create a wiki page of what that means to different people. So this way, when people are creating metrics and that sort of thing, there's a standard definition for them. So that was the genesis of Wiki in our group. Instead of having a long thread of email where you're getting this information from, who's contributing to it, it's well documented, the history of the page. So what is an enterprise wiki mean to me is, I think it's integration. We're trying to have one-stop shopping sort of for our end users, and having multiple tools from different places really kind of confuses them. You know, what's the strategy, that sort of thing. So we have this page called One MSK, which is based on SharePoint. It has like social features in there and so on. But it doesn't have a good wiki. So we still have this wiki, we called it Datapedia, where we're creating all these definitions. So I'm really here. And the other thing is the search, being able to search from multiple places so that if it's on a wiki, it'll come up on SharePoint and vice versa. So I think that's one of the things that I'm hoping we can move forward with. When I'm here at conference, I really just like to network and learn and hopefully contribute. And in general, what got me started to Wiki, actually I'm a volunteer for Lions Club International, and I'm the IT chair for serving 3 counties in New York. And obviously it's not for profit, we don't have any money, open source. So I volunteered to do that. So when this opportunity came at work, I'm a PHP developer as well, so I'm comfortable with, not having anybody else kind of, that kind of the buck stops here. If it doesn't work, it's on me, kind of thing. So that's scary as well, right? Knowing that, if you have issues, I have to reach out to the community. And I think I've exchanged email with Yaron over here on some data transfer stuff in the past. So it's a great community out there, though. But I'm hoping that's something that people can tap each other on. Hope for the future, again, better integration with SharePoint and maybe triple stores and graph databases, so that the semantic data could really be stored in a much more efficient manner, where you could really look at all this relationship with the semantic data, and really continue collaborating, networking this event. I think that would be great to see during this event. The frustrations, I think maintenance and support of some of the extensions, once you start relying on something, maybe it's not supported anymore or doesn't work with maybe the latest versions of things, on the way maybe it's packaged still the old way, and and a new way of installing it on the wiki. So some of the technical challenges. And I think, a lot of the stuff that we echo back some of the things that I mentioned here, hesitation of people, users, like to share information and being open. Maybe it's, insecurity of job security, or whatever it is, sharing knowledge. But I think educating people on the value of sharing and transparency and how that extends people's value and create new opportunities, I think needs to be communicated well. I think that's share. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tom O'Neill. I'm with the Department of Energy. We'll be going into more details about our work this afternoon, my talk. So we run Powerpedia, which is focused on all of DOE, including our many national labs, and I also have been involved since I guess Wikimania helped by the State Department, and we ended up starting a group specifically aimed at federal use of MediaWiki. And I definitely want to, through this conference, further not only deepen connections, I guess, between those in the federal space using MediaWiki, but also learn how we can encourage new other federal agencies to stand up new instances of MediaWiki and grow the community, because I think MediaWiki is an excellent tool for agencies, and of course with the federal CIO is definitely an advocate of open source, and I think there's lots that we can use the tool for, and some things that I would love to see was or these resources might be available already, but different ways to have ongoing, not just support of those trying to stand up wikis or running into technical issues, and maybe the stakeholders, which I've just started participating in, maybe that is the vehicle, or if I understood correctly, NASA with trying to create a basic wiki that can be reused for other organizations. I think building on that are things I think worth highlighting, and I'm excited to be here, and very much enjoyed hearing everybody's use of the wiki so far. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Juan Lara. I work at Genesis. We're based in the Bay Area, California. Genesis builds software for companies to create and manage call centers. And I'm a technical writer and tools developer there. And we use MediaWiki to deliver our software documentation to customers. So everything from user guides to SDK documentation to API references. And generally, we've found MediaWiki to be a really versatile platform. We've been able to overcome a lot of obstacles that we've come across. My hope for the future is to see more of an overlap between the technical writing and technical communication world and the MediaWiki world. I think they each have a lot of great ideas that can benefit the other. Our biggest challenges in our use case is delivering a subset of our wiki for offline use and managing localized wiki farms. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to learning from you all.
Hi, my name is Jerome Koerner, and I do MediaWiki or Enterprise MediaWiki development, hosting, consulting, and authorship. Wrote a book. I'll talk about that later. Since 2006, yeah. So my biggest interest, as a consultant and as a developer, is just increasing usage and getting it into as many hands and installations as possible. I'm not the only consultant here. There are others, people here who share that goal, and I guess it certainly would help everyone to have more usage, just for the peripheral benefits of having a lot of people involved in the software. As far as challenges, I think it's interesting. Arguably, one of our biggest advantages and disadvantages is the fact there's nothing else really like it. Like the Enterprise MediaWiki suite of software. I mean, obviously there are competitors like SharePoint, Confluence, and there are various other applications that do parts of what it does. But as far as the whole, the whole package, there isn't really anything comparable as far as I know. Which is obviously an advantage in terms of not having competitors, but at the same time, there's nothing you can really compare it to when you're trying to explain the software to new people. You can't say, oh, it's like this, but it's free, or that sort of thing. Not that that's anything we can change, but yeah, that's it. I'm looking forward to meeting and talking with everyone here.
Hi, my name's Mike Egan. I actually work for the Army Corps of Engineers, and I also support a Marine Corps project for civil affairs Marines. As you can imagine, it's there's some challenges with getting jarheads to, no offense to any Marines in here, challenge to get those guys to try to write wiki text. We have some more advanced features that we would like to get Marines to use, like being able to import RDF from DBpedia, because they build a lot of like country study pages, because they deploy for humanitarian assistance around the world. So getting them to be able to, to write wiki text that can import RDF from DBpedia would be awesome, instead of trying to have them build their own pages. Also work on another project. It's a little more of a rapid prototype using MediaWiki. We're kind of tackling a large domain of water security and trying to build an ontology where we can import that ontology into MediaWiki and try to do a little more automated semantic tagging and maybe entity extraction from a lot of documents. We haven't made a ton of progress on that, but hopefully we will eventually. And hopefully I'll get some ideas in the next couple days. That's about it.
Hi, my name is Brian Hildebrand. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, and I'm here to learn a lot from you guys. I started a wiki at my last company on my laptop, and it ended up expanding into the company standard and then the divisional standard. And more recently I switched jobs. I work for an electric and gas utility in California, and I started a wiki there right now to kind of subvert some IT issues. It's just hosted in the cloud, but it's starting to take off there as well. My hopes is that the product can be easier for the end user as time goes on. And I'd like to learn more about semantic MediaWiki. I haven't used it yet. I have it installed, but haven't dug into it yet. My frustration is that there really isn't kind of industry standard for knowledge management in business or the enterprise. So some of the government and private entities that use MediaWiki now I've researched and used as talking points about why we should use it, but I don't know really how you guys use it, so I'd like to learn a little bit from you guys about usage. And I don't know about a challenge, but the difference I see between the enterprise wiki and Wikipedia on the plus side maybe is the lack of anonymity, and I think that's probably helpful. On the minus side, Wikipedia, you're supposed to source something else, but in a business you're supposed to, sometimes there is no source, it's your knowledge or the subject matter expert's knowledge, and so sometimes there's a fear or resistance to put that in unless they really know it. That was talked about before, so just a little bit of a difference.
Hi, I'm Tina Tenberg, and I'm from Canada, from Winnipeg, and I heard about this looking at the SMW cons of previous years because we've been using MediaWiki since 2008 and Semantic MediaWiki for the last 2 years. So I wanted to just see how others are using it. When you guys first started talking, I thought I knew what I was going to say, but I've heard so many things from so many different people who have echoed similar problems and who have expanded on other things I hadn't even thought about, that I'm a little mixed up with it now. But the way we're using it, I work for a service redesign team in a healthcare setting. So we go into, at this point, mostly ambulatory care clinics within several hospitals in Winnipeg, where we bring in an electronic medical record. Believe it or not, they're still doing stuff all on paper. And we have used at different times wikis to try to document what they're doing. And we have failed more often than not because getting people to adopt MediaWiki is quite difficult. So I was hoping to hear more from people here on how they have managed to overcome some of this and facilitate using MediaWiki in a work environment. But we've also been successful with at least one of our wikis where it has gotten more integrated, and we've more fully adopted it as not just the documentation but the communication tool for the team. So I wanted to see how other people are using it and what else we can learn from that. I'm here mostly because in our group or in our company, we don't really have anyone else who uses MediaWiki. So I work a little bit in a vacuum, and I'm already looking forward to talking to some of you because you're using it in similar ways or in ways I haven't even thought about yet. But yeah, I think that's one of my biggest frustrations is I work with a lot of non-technical people. A lot of our users are nurses, and they are still struggling on even making basic computer literacy requirement. I mean, it's all still paper charts, so even just basic computer usage is a problem for some of those people, and getting them to use wiki markup is almost impossible. So looking forward to hearing more about how people have overcome some of these things. Thanks.
My name is Barb Evenson, and I work with nonprofits who are trying to do outward-facing wikis to share historical information or information about family members. And I can talk just a little bit, but first I want to say I'm here because Jaren is merciful and good, and in the middle of the night he saves me nicely and patiently, and it's just impossible to understand how he does that plus all the other things he does. And he invited me, so that's why I'm here. My experience started, if any of you were born with WikiWiki Web in like the 90s, in the 90s. And so I've used wikis for a long time. I was lucky enough to work with the South Dakota Hall of Fame when they implemented a semantic media wiki-based solution to a documentation problem. They need to take their Hall of Famers and put that information out so other people can see it. It has traditionally been in boxes in the back room, and they wanted to start sharing that information. As a secondary thing, they want to share that, they want family members to be able to modify that information, upload photographs, videos, link to PDFs. And just if the word Hall of Fame doesn't bring this up for you, that mostly means people who have retired for a long time. So the people themselves really aren't computer literate, and some of their families are not computer literate. So the semantic media wiki application for that used forms, and it was successful. It's been very successful. And there is a second nonprofit and a third who want to use much the same system to share outward directed information created by family members. The second one is World War II pilots who flew in China. I have been dinking around with Cargo and have modified the implementation of the first one using Cargo. And I think that's a little above my technical expertise, and thanks again to my friend in the middle of the night. I guess I hope that the people who do the development and develop the extensions know how much we love them. That's not my area. I would like to help with documentation, because I think documentation for people like me, technically competent, but never going to be a developer. That's a hard use case, and I'd like to help with that. I think it's been a wonderful experience with Semantic Media Wiki and now with Cargo. So.
Hi, I'm Gargo. I work for the Wikimedia Foundation as a developer. Before starting there, I have been a Wikipedia editor for a long time. I run a few community wikis, and my frustration with wikis is the slow pace of development. So 10 years ago, Wiki was this wonderful new tool that revolutionized how people collaborate. And these days, if you want to look for innovation, then you probably look at Stack Overflow or Quora instead, which I think is a shame because those don't embody all the values of openness and community empowerment that MediaWiki does. And I think the reason for that is the lack of resources. It's hard for an open source software to be successful without having a way to provide jobs for people who work on it. And for MediaWiki, really the main source of jobs is the Wikimedia Foundation, and the Wikimedia Foundation runs on donations, and that doesn't scale up well. So I think there is a huge untapped potential in enterprise use, commercial use of MediaWiki as a way to expand the software ecosystem. I hope I can help with figuring that out. That's one of my aspirations for being here. The other one is a year ago I worked on rewriting the authentication system of MediaWiki. I will talk a bit more about that tomorrow, but short version, we got a lot of complaints from people who were affected by it, but didn't. It was a surprise for them, and that made me realize that the Wikimedia Foundation, which does these huge overarching changes to MediaWiki, doesn't really have a way of consulting stakeholders before that. We have some community governance structures for MediaWiki, but those are really developer-oriented, and if you are a user, even a huge user of MediaWiki, but not a developer, then they don't really work for you. So I am hoping that we can figure out something for that.
And there's three gentlemen in the back there. You guys want to grab a microphone real quick and introduce yourselves?
I'm Peter Meyer. I work for U.S. Government Statistics Agency and temporarily for the Office of Management and Budget, where I hope to help coordinate the statistics agencies. I always found MediaWiki to be ideal for scientific information and also potentially for government administrative information with its thousands of terms and the need for a glossary. I've had only mixed success getting other people on board with that. But starting about 10 years ago, I was editing Wikipedia also, and I've learned to teach people and to hold editathons, and so now I'm part of the Wikimedia DC local chapter for Wikipedia.
Steve, I'm a software developer and just expanding my expertise. So.
Yes, hello. I'm Matthew Thompson. I'm a software developer here at MITRE. I'm here to mostly help out Cindy and Bernadette. So my experience using, I've only been here at MITRE for a little over a year, but I guess mostly been doing extension development and working with extensions. So I guess something that I'd like to learn more about here is just talk with other extension developers and get whatever advice or good tricks they've learned from their work in extension development. I guess my frustration when I've been doing work here with wikis, as many others have said, has been a lot of these sort of configuration type tasks where that's often been the biggest time sink, just in terms of amount of time spent versus actual progress made. So yes, hello to everyone. Thank you for coming.
And I think that's everybody. So thank you all for the introductions. I always enjoy coming to these events. This is probably my fourth or fifth MediaWiki related event outside of MediaWiki and Wikipedia. I enjoy hearing all the diverse voices. It's very interesting the different groups and organizations that are represented in this room. There are obviously a lot of government organizations given the kind of topic of the event, but I'm loving to hear about people from all sorts of walks of lives in different countries. We have Germany and Canada and a few others I think represented here too. So hopefully over the next few days we get to learn about each other a little more. Right now, I think we're going to take a break. Is that, do you want to talk for a minute? Yeah. All right, I'm going to pass the mic back to Cynthia really quick.
Awesome. So yeah, those were all really interesting, and I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you better. So we were supposed to start our next session in 4 minutes, and I think that's not real fair. So why don't we go ahead and take a break until 11:15, which will mean we'll start the next session 15 minutes later. But then we're not going to rush through that one. We'll just start. We've got an hour and a half for lunch, so we'll just start lunch 15 minutes later. Janice and Maureen helped to get, if you go outside and look on the table, everybody can pick up, there's printed out the directions both to tonight's event as well as tomorrow's social event. So pick one of those up. So you've got that. And then in addition, they printed out the agenda, just if you want to have a paper one to refer to. Hopefully we will stick to the times from now on, and so it won't change anymore. So you can have a paper copy of the agenda. And just briefly before we go to break, I wanted to say one extra special thank you. Today is International Women's Day, and I want to thank all of the women who are in the audience for coming today. Thank you.